How to stop procrastinating your coaching business. I'm Morris from CreateGrowProfit.com, and today I'm speaking to ChewHoong, who is an expert in manifestation and overcoming procrastination. But she's also a business coach, and she combines all of these things in a very unique way to help people to stop overthinking and to take action, but do it with ease and flow. ChewHoong, thank you so much for being here today. Where are you calling in from?
Oh, I'm in the Boston area right now, and so happy to be here. However, I'm going to be doing what we call the digital nomad kind of lifestyle, which I'm so excited about because that's what I help myself and my people to do is doing what you love anywhere, anytime, right? Fulfilled. I love helping people, especially purpose-driven coaches because you have a purpose. You're doing this work from the soul level, I call it. And so there is something you have a big why, big reason for doing this meaningful work, and that's what my calling is. I call it that. I say I wake up and say, "Ooh, who's my souls to serve today? Who's my soul collaborators?" Right?
Before we started this recording and when we met, you explained something to me how a lot of self-employed people, they don't actually have that many business problems or marketing problems, but they have a lot of personal problems that hold them back. And you're very conscious of that in your business coaching, which makes you quite unique in your approach. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. Let's talk about business, right? Since we'll grow business, is that you know, when I started, we always say, okay, I better learn all the business strategy skill sets, right, to grow my business because I came from a corporate world, and I just do. Fortunately, I was doing membership uh, things, which is fine. I know about that, know a little bit of marketing and all that. However, when you step into being an entrepreneur, it's like, whoa, I suddenly have to wear the hat of being a CEO, marketing, sales, customer service, accounting, and all that, right? So I spend the money because that's part of being a business person, right? You got to invest for your growth. However, I realized that I wasn't taking the actions I need to do. Lots of great knowledge, not taking the action. And the action became many years, 10 plus years. I would start my business, drop, go back. So it became like, you know, seriously being a business, then hobby, then all that. And I was saying, my gosh, I'm not a kind of person. So what's happening? Then I remember, Tony Robbins, many of us know, say, business success, 20% is related to business strategies, tactics, and all the things you do externally. 80% or more of success is what's happening internally. And we all hear is around the mindset. I'm going to say that it's not just mindset, it's also emotional. And I'm introduce a new concept, energetics. And when you got to pay attention to all this, because when you do internally, when you feel very aligned with different things, and we're going to talk about that, yeah, I call them your superpowers, then that's what's going to get expressed externally in the kind of business that you want to have.
How is the emotional part and the energetic part different from the mindset?
Mindset, because we think that, okay, we just have to think positive, right? We have to say affirmations. I am this. I am that. However, I that's what I did. Okay, I want. I am. So I want to say that I attract. One of the things I say is, I make 5,000 at the beginning. I make 5,000 a month consistently. Not happening. So it's hard for me to say it because I feel as if I'm faking it, right? And so, and I learned a way though to do it. We'll call it um, it's an advanced. It's a it's coined by Elise Curran, and it's called progressive affirmation. To get a place where you're not sure to a place where it becomes is true for you. It's about whole alignment. Yeah. And I'm putting it as a teaser because we're gonna have a gift. The gift will invite you into my my circle, my into part of my community, and I will share that email with you. How to take an affirmation because affirmation is powerful. Affirmation is setting you up to say that, oh, of expecting, right? Expecting something. However, if you're faking it, ain't gonna happen.
So taking affirmations as an example, does that mean mindset would be saying the affirmations or thinking the affirmations every day, and then the emotional and the energetic part is actually feeling aligned with it and not having any resistance to the things that I'm saying or thinking.
Yeah, because when you have a thought is a thought, then what's your emotions around that thought. Okay, so if you say I am, if I say I, if I say that I am a successful coach, I'm not successful yet, right? So in my mind, I'm already saying I'm worried about it. I'm not really not. I'm faking it. I'm actually very frustrated that I'm not successful because I'm not bringing my clients. So all these things are really thinking. And how do you feel? You got to feel. I feel frustrated. I feel worried, right? So all this are not. So it's going to pull you down. And then that's might call the superpower of being a high vibration. You got to be in such a high vibration that to be attractive, right? You almost have to light up internally. So when people meet you, they feel that you're genuine. That wow, you're really successful, right? And so and you cannot show up. Here's an example. Okay, imagine yourself that you have a backpack, and in the backpack is all this heaviness of worry, frustration, right? And that's going to burden you, and your shoulders go down, and then you're trying to say I'm confident, oh I'm successful. You're not, right? Because you're burdened by this, and people are going to feel it. Imagine, you might have met people you don't know, and some people you feel, oh I just want to hang out with them, right? Because they have this amazing love vibe, I call it. Whereas others is say, I'm going to stay away from them. So we all have this sixth sense that we're never told to cultivate. We call it, most of it call it your gut feeling, your intuition. That's how it starts. And so it's all based on a very energetic piece. And so if you show up, you go to a networking meeting, and inside say, oh, another networking event, I've been to so many, it's a waste of time. And then here you are, you're asked to share what you do and say, da 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 da. But internally, people don't, they feel that you're not genuine, right? So, yeah. So the vibrations you want to be in is at least you got to be in a place of hopefulness, optimism. And if as a business person you're already feeling worried, your bank account is, you're struggling and all that, you got to find a way to sort of resolve that, or come to, I call it, make peace with that in some ways, and remain that. I had to work through that, because of my procrastination. I nearly became bankrupt. My money, and I had, it was like a wake up call. What do I do? I could go back to a corporate job, which is fine. However, I had a bigger why I had to do it. And so I had to basically crawl myself back. Yeah, and you have to, like, and that's what it is, part of being an entrepreneur, right? Knowing your big why. So yeah, the superpower high vibrations. And if you're in low vibrations, I'm going to ask you to do this wherever you are. If you say that I'm not connecting with my clients easily, put these three words behind it: for right now. It's very important, because it's just for right now. It's not a forever thing. Because you have a protective mind. Your protective mind is say, oh yeah, you don't have clients, so yeah, why don't you go back to the corporate job, so much more easier. Why don't you do this easier, right? It's not in service of you. It doesn't say it's going to help you do it in a good way, but it's how you've been thinking and all that. So some builders are thoughts, words become thoughts of emotions, there's a charge behind it, and that translates to beliefs, because you keep thinking over and over and over again, right? How you got to believe, and from that belief you're going to take the actions that could be very to support you or limit you.
When the day finally came where you reached your first milestone, and when you had this realization that you're close to bankruptcy, you don't want to go back to the corporate job, what did your days and weeks look like in that transition period where you crawled out of that and finally reached your first milestone?
Yeah, I had to really, they call this like slow down to go fast. I had to go to look at my internal. When I heard from Tony Robbins, 80% or more is related to internal, my knee jerk was just like, no way. You know why? Because that involves having to, it's almost like knee jerk reaction. Well, that means, well, if I look in there, that means I may have mental, emotional problems. In my culture, if I say that, oh, I may have emotional issues and all that, it's like kind of you're a big loser. And I've had that experience because I grew up. Then explore that, and I'm going to tell you this is that you can try to do it on your own, and I try to do it. I'm the one to say, yeah, do your own. I love people. I promote that. However, there's some things you cannot, especially if your pattern or it persists, because again, your protective mind will not let you be aware of it, or even if so, maybe on a surface level. And that's why you got to work with a coach where you feel safe and secure. And I was very fortunate I had that, and because they're all hidden for you. And what it came down to me was that because I say I don't have, and my reaction, I don't have traumas, right? People say, well, maybe you have traumas. I don't have traumas, right? Because trauma is the big traumas, right? Abuse and all that. The most insidious ones most of us have is what I call the small T traumas that accumulate. And for me, especially if your culture condones it, like I remember, I know what brought me to realizing I forgot is that when I was like, I'm a feisty. I call myself a wild child. I cannot sit still in class, and I'm forever curious. And I was brought up in front of class several times in front of a classroom, and like 3 feet me, 5'9" teacher looking down with booming voice and said, why can't you be like others? Be quiet. Why don't you study? You're not that smart. So what does a little kid me do, right? We take in because it's a teacher telling me I'm not good. And then I can't even tell it to my parents because my father was a principal in another school, and I've seen him do that in front of like big group of students. So when you have that suddenly, and then not only happened to me once, happened a few times, and then I wasn't a good student, so I couldn't go to college. So I went to a special school, and when I tell people I'm in this special school, that it's like you could see them taking like a step away from me because oh, this is a loser. So I developed this that I'm not good enough. And every time I meet someone who has a lot of alphabets of the name, I have this what I call comparisonitis. I compare, oh, I'm not good enough. So when I became an entrepreneur, people say, you got to be out there speaking. You got to tell people who you are, right? I couldn't do that. That was my biggest thing. I procrastinate. No, I got to do this. No, no, no. I could be on social media. No, 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 no. And let's talk practical terms. Procrastination over 10 years. If my billable hour is $100, every hour I procrastinate, I could be a millionaire 10 times over by now, right? So I'm going to invite those people of you. We call you in a stuck cycle. It could show up as procrastination, perfectionism, you know, thinking that you're imposter, overthinking. You're always trying to just be in the doing, but never just hit the button to get it out there. I'm going to invite you if you're a pattern of this. Yeah, my heart goes out to you, and also for you to know that people like me, like Morris, supporting you.
ChewHoong, thank you so much for sharing that personal story. Before I ask my next follow-up question, you mentioned earlier that you have something for free that people can use as a resource. What is that?
Right. So superpower, I know we talk about the high vibration piece. The second one, just going down that, is the superpower of integrity. Are you integrity with yourself, walking your talk, right? And especially in the business world, if you don't follow up, you don't follow through, right? People know you're not integrity. Let's leave it as that. Number three, the superpower of expectation, of knowingness that when you have a goal, that you're going to achieve it, right? And if the goal is a big goal and where you're now, you're not there. So, for example, you want to make, the thing I hear about is that I want to make $10,000 consistently a month. That seems to be like the the price tag. But now you're only making 1,000 a month. How do you collapse the time and know that you can achieve? So I created this guided visualization every time. So in service of going to a big goal, making the 10,000, there's a lot of activities you have to do, right? Like showing for networking event, coming to this podcast, reaching out. So before you do an important event, just do this guided meditations, maybe 2.5, 3 minutes, not long. And it will set you up in the best high vibration. Expectation is going to go beautifully, in really thinking what the outcome is. Because you know what? Your protective mind is also your goal getter. You can ask kids, all right, I want this, help me get it. And it's amazing. You have this amazing help in your brain that no one tells you about. And so, and what is beautiful about this kind of visualization, you can do it while you're driving, you're walking, while, while you're running. Like when I'm driving to go to networking event, I'm thinking of how, setting myself in the best frequency of feeling so excited about meeting people, wondering who I'm going to meet, my dream clients. And this happened to me. I showed up to networking events and I'll just share who I am, but because I'm so excited and all that, people literally say in the chat, "Oh, I want you on my summit." I want you on my podcast. They don't even know me. But this is what it is because I'm being genuine. Also to be genuine and also that, of being of service and all that. And I'm glowing, right? From the inside out. So cool. So that's the gift I give to you guys. And I give another gift from that is that when you do that and you want to fine tune it for yourself, I invite you to have set up a time with me and we can fine tune it for you. And it comes from this first place. What's your commitment level? 0 to 10. If you're committed to really supporting people in having a successful business, then you're going to take this action. So this is a test.
And I will link to that below this episode so they can download that.
I also want to put out there, that thank you for building this amazing community of people, right? And I love how you're going to help them, right? First, create the message, create information, how to grow. It's important to have that people you want to commit, and then gotta make money, guys. If you have a challenge around monetary stuff, limited beliefs or whatever, that you got to deal with that. So Morris is ready here to support you, and you are so open minded to seeing that beyond all the external activities, right? It's the internal part that you want to bring along with it. I call it that when you internally nourish yourself, externally you'll be expressed and you see that goal coming towards you in ways magnificent.
Thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate that. Talking about your transition period from 10 years of struggling with procrastination to taking a step back to going fast, and then finally taking the actions that you needed and wanted to take to really build your coaching business. In that transition period, what were some of the things that in the 10 years before you were really struggling to implement or do? And then by working through some of your traumas, as you shared, you started actually doing it and it felt easy and effortless.
I decided to know that we're trained to do what we call a do have be. You do something so you can have like you do what you go to college, you study hard, so you have the American, I call it the American dream life, right? Have a great job, and then you're happy. So you're delaying that happiness. You call it pursuit. Let's flip it. What do you choose to be when you wake up? So instead, I wake up and say, oh, because the to-do list will forever be there. So what I choose to say, I choose to be enjoy. That's for me. I choose to have fun and be enjoy. And so then say, well, okay, from this place, what are the activities that's going to support that? So I have a client who, we say, all right, you got to do marketing. You got to go online networking, social media. She basically cringed. She said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Right. So then we say, okay, what would make you happy to do marketing? Because you got to let people know about you. And then she said, well, I feel the most happy when I get in my car and I go meet people in person. So I said, all right, go do that. And very quickly, because she was in such a happy place, right? She's doing the things that's aligned, we call. She's in integrity with herself, right? That this is what feels good for her. And then that's how, before long, she had a very, very successful business. I have a client. I did that. She canceled our appointment. She's so sorry. I woke up and people left me messages and people emailing want to have appointments with me. And I said, good. That means my coaching worked. So go do it.
Yeah, yeah. So if I can try to unpack this process a little bit, so what that means is, yes, as a coach or as a self-employed person, business owner, we have to do marketing. But then following the concept of be, do, have, as opposed to do, have, be, waking up asking ourselves, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be today? And then finding the overlap between what we should be doing and who we want to be. Is that how it works?
Yeah, basically, I want to take the word should because I have a thing about I won't use the word that's right now. I call it the when you should. What's the energy around that piece? I should. I should. You got to pay attention to that versus they say, "Oh, I desire to do this. I want to do this." Right? It's the energy of hopefulness, of excitement. That's really what I pay attention to. I mean, yeah. I mean, because of what you do, you're going to give a lot of suggestions, right? Right? Create this content, do that, put it here. A lot of great ideas. However, as I'm listening to you, I'm going to say, okay, which one would make me feel the most joyful or fun doing?
Yeah, as you said. So first of all, thank you for pointing that out. That's really good. And the question then turns into, what do I want to do for marketing?
Yeah. And also the concept of marketing. What is the word when I hear marketing? A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to do marketing," right? Think of it this way. Let's reframe. Why do you do the marketing? What is it in service of? You're doing the marketing so that people get to know you. So think of it that marketing is equals to letting people know, hey, I'm here to help you, right? You don't want to be the kept secret. So from that framework, now you can see, right? Marketing can be fun. I'm not a good writer, but I'm like saying that when I'm writing, think of this way. If you're writing an email and you come from the, oh, I gotta do this. Maurice asked me to do this, so I better send this email out. But you're coming from this energy, you guess what? We're all energetic. When you hit the send button, the person receiving will feel the energy, the heaviness.
Yeah, you're so right. And also, I mean, there's only for so long we can force ourselves to do something. Eventually, we stop doing it, we start procrastinating again, or we burn out, different variations, but it usually doesn't end well. And surprisingly, a lot of people, including myself, there were things that I forced myself to do, and they worked. I actually got clients from it, I made money with it. But just because I made money with it, that didn't make it any better. And so it can turn into a prison or a trap where you're stuck with an activity that you don't want to do. You force yourself to do it and you get paid for it. And it's a very convoluted place to be. And it's sometimes difficult to empathize with that position because it does make money and business should be making money. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, look at examples of people's celebrities that are one big thing, right? They have the money, they have the adulation, and all that. A lot of them, some of them, high suicide rate, high alcoholic rate, right? So most of them, the confession of the millionaire says that, yeah, internally they are not happy.
What would you tell people who really struggle with the concept of marketing? For example, a coach who says, I love coaching, I want to be a coach, but I want to have nothing to do with marketing. Then would it be appropriate or accurate to rephrase that question and say, instead of marketing, why do you want to help people, or why do you want to be a coach? What's your message to the world? And then how do you want to share that message with the world? Do you think that's an appropriate reframe, or is it too obvious of a trick question to ultimately get them to answer about marketing?
I'm glad you say that because you're really right. The big why. Really, it comes down to that. Why? Why are you doing it? And it has to be something not just within you, but on a bigger scale. It has to be a big thing, right? When I was at bankruptcy, I say, oh my gosh, is it worth it? I won't tell you my real age because I'm forever 35, but I was reaching a point where it's like time was of the essence. It's like if I don't do it now, drop it. And that's because of my big why, because I connected with, for me, my soul, you know, purpose. I would, like 3 a.m. I wake up in the middle, I would scream at my divine, say, "You give, Father, give me my soul purpose." But I'm failing as a business person. You better help me. Basically, I had a lot of those sort of conversations. And when I did that, but because I'm so, I again revisit what's my big why, what's my big why, and that's going to support me. A very typical example is that I want to be healthy. Okay. So for me, but I love food when people, especially baked goods, because I don't bake. So when something baked, my hand literally just go out and just want to eat it, right? And then first, okay, if I'm gonna no guilt, all right, I'm gonna enjoy it. My hand wants to go out again, I have to stop it because I say, what? Whoa, 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 If I eat this and I know, it's a lot of sugar and all that, it's not gonna support me being healthy. What's my big why in being healthy? My big why is that I live by myself. I got to stay healthy. I have children. However, I don't want them to have the burden of taking care of me, if possible. So my business is to, in service for my children, right? But it's also in service for me because I'm healthy. I can, I love to dance and I love to go outside and explore and hike and all that. So it's in service of that too. And that's why, when I reach my hand up, I take it back.
What I find impressive is that in the moment you recall your big why. I guess that's a practice as well. It's a habit that we have to build to constantly remind ourselves of the big why, and then it turns into almost like a trade. Do I want the second dessert, or do I want to continue dancing and being free and feeling good in my body for decades to come?
Yes, correct. And again, what's your values? Superpower number two, integrity with your values. For me, it's about authenticity, being genuine. Because you know why? When I came to the States, I was very fortunate. I got scholarship. However, I had to take care of myself. All the holidays, all the vacations. I gotta find a place to stay. I gotta have money because I left when I came to the States. I barely had $100 in my pocket. I don't, and so I had to survive. And by doing that, I had to become a people pleaser. And I found that, if I want something, oh, I better be nice, I better be sweet. And that's not really me. And so eventually it was so exhausting. Oh my God, what face should I put on with different people? And I sort of basically say, I'm done with this. I want to just be me.
Everything that I've learned from you, what I would say in summary is number one, start with your free guided meditation, listening to that before doing a business activity, feeling better about the activity, being more at ease about it, and putting out that energy that helps us succeed. And then the other thing is, if I hear you correctly, if we continue to live by patterns that stop us, that block us, that make us procrastinate, if it happens over and over again, that it's a clear sign to reach out to someone like you. And how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say get my gift, and it will tell you how to be in touch with me. That will be the best thing because I'm inviting, like I strongly want to invite you to get that gift because if you want to build a business with ease, joy, and abundance, that is the one thing that's going to support you.
Thank you so much, ChewHoong. I appreciate that you shared your story so openly and that you gave us all this advice.
Again, been so humble in a way, because you're amazing coach and you do amazing work and to be always open to learning and understanding that so many ways to reach a goal, right? And whatever is in service of the person, let's explore it. It's a grand adventure.
Thank you.